Hey, folks, it's Lindsey Hullison with SPS and my guy, Terry McCoy Jr. back in the building. Another SPS Edge Show. We want to thank you guys for tuning in, whether you start with us at the beginning or finish at the end. We're getting a lot of love out here in these digital streets, Terry. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. It's been a great week. Capped it off. Great last week. Coming up to the weekend for that great showdown in East Lansing, and ever since then, man, it's been like the sports world has been on fire. I mean, the World Series finished up. The first college football rankings came out, and we're seeing some NFL explosions coming out. Guys missing games. Henry Ruggs, man, that guy needs some love right now, and so. It's been a lot of breaking news in the headlines. The NFL deadline came out. Von Miller to the Rams. Like, so much is going on, man. I'm like right there with my notepad, writing down everything that's going on, so I can bring it on Thursday night at 6 p.m. Eastern time and talk about it with my man.
Yeah, I think that's one thing we got to realize, man. That sports, one thing that's so powerful about sports, and makes me happy to be a fanatic to a degree of how it intersects. But listen, I got one for you. We got our guy Aaron Mays checking in. But listen, yes, in the world of espionage and high-end kidnappings, when they gotta try to figure out what they're gonna do as far as showing proof of life, we got proof of life. Guess what? Aaron Mays does exist. There he is, man.
Yes, sir.
With A. Mays. Shout out to A. Mays. What's up, family? He invited me out to our hometown city, Detroit. We went down and kicked it at They Say. He was a great, great host, man. He said, make sure you take this picture to show Terry. I'm really good brother, man. Such a good brother. So knowledgeable about sports and passion. And I thank you for your support. Next time's on me. Hey, shout out to Mo, the waitress. I had to go work a game, so I couldn't get down with the spirits. I was doing like Terry. I had a lemonade, but I had that salmon burger. That was on fire. But Aaron, this is my word. Next time it's on me, fam. So glad that you are part of this, man. And we got you right here. It's like you here, man. So it was really good getting up with you. And this is an amazing thing that we have in this world right now, Terry, where through digital platforms like this, you can connect with people. And when I got a chance to sit down and kick it with him, man, it was just so cool. But it's because of the platform we have. And I'm very thankful that he made sure he shouted you out, and he couldn't do nothing but sing your praises with your abilities and everything that's going on. So again, Aaron Mays, man, you're a part of the family. We appreciate you. We got another family member right now that can't be with us right now, which is Coach Orlando Watkins. Got called into that mandatory coaches meeting. You know how that go, man, down there with Detroit Public School District. Shout out to Anika. I know Anika probably has something to do with making it happen. But you're right, though, man. Sports is going on, and we're so great to be engulfed in it. Speaking of that, man, let's get right to it, man. Let's do a recap of Michigan State versus Michigan. If you were living under a rock, that's the only way you don't know what has been going on, man, with Sparty and everybody. I'm trying to pull the pickup. I have to pull up. But, hey, I don't even got to put no pickup. Everybody know what went down last Saturday. Shout out to K9. I got to say K9 because people know him by that, but I'm not really big on that reference. That's just me being woke right now. But anyway, Kenneth Walker and his work. So, Terry, what do you think, man? A lot of people, was ready to turn the TV off for a number of reasons, but Michigan State stayed the course, man. They had success over Michigan. The future of Michigan program and Jim Harbaugh, that's another conversation. But just tell me what you thought about everything that went down.
Man, so I thought the better team won. We've been saying it on here. We thought Michigan State was
the statistically better team did not win.
That's true. That's true. But I said with the eye test all year, I think we gave Michigan State the nod all year. So it felt good with that pick being right. But
okay, I think we got some time. Would it have been different had they been playing in Ann Arbor? A different outcome?
I don't think so. And I don't think so. Because I feel like one coach coached to win and the other
coach not to lose.
You already know. Yeah. I mean, to come out, man, like, first off, I think the biggest takeaway was not finishing drives. Michigan's kicker was 4 for 4. Again, pick up your points. But 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 7 is 28. That's 28 points left off the board. But you got 12, and the longest field goal was 38 yards. So you
got to score. You have to score touchdowns on the road. You can't settle for just getting field goals. I had to interject that.
In any game, and I think especially in a rivalry game, because The emotions are there. Michigan State has been known to score so many points in explosive ways that you got to cap off drives. Not to mention how they started in their territory. Turnovers. They were fortunate enough to get tip passes, interceptions, really make Peyton Thorne uncomfortable, and they were set up in ideal field position. You got to cap those off. And I want to give a quick shout out to Connor Hayward and the receiving room. Man, they blocked for Kenneth Walker so well. Every touchdown, Connor Hayward sealed the edge and allowed K9 to be free. I said it in there. It just slid.
Can I add something to that point? Can I add something to that point? And shout out to Aaron May. He said a better coach team won that game.
Yeah.
But, I want to congratulate Mel. And we can sing Mel praises all day long. You see him over my right shoulder right here, him and his lovely wife. Here's my thing. He got Connor Hayward to come out of the transfer portal and got him to buy in. So when you give that special shout out, which I can appreciate, Terry, that is a part of him buying into Mel Tucker. Because as you know, with football, man, it's all the little things. Everybody got to be moving as a unit. So for you to acknowledge that he was blocking and getting in, he had bought in. He was sold out to them. And here's my other question. I know the term is little brother, but do you think that people still kind of sleeping on Michigan State? I know it's crazy. They're 8-0. They're ranked number 4 right now in the country. If the playoffs were today, he'll be playing Nick Saban, in Alabama. Who knows what that outcome can be? I don't think it would be like we experienced before. But you think people are still just sleeping on them, man?
I think so, because at the end of the day, it's Big Ten. If you're a Big Ten team in that conference, other than being Ohio State, you're always going to be slept on. I think that, and Aaron brings up a great point. I think that Michigan played to win. I think Michigan played. Cade McNamara answered my call and stepped up and played really well. Him and Andrell Anthony. Andrell Anthony was that receiver in the receiving room.
I just got to go back on. You say Michigan played to win, but their coach not to lose.
Their coach not to lose. When you have the lead, you got to keep your foot on their neck in rivalry games. You can't give an inch of hope. You can't rely on referee calls. You got to continue to.
Speaking of that, what you want to say about that touchdown that got overturned? What do you want to say about that?
It got overturned. I mean, in these games, you can't really relish on calls. And I'm gonna do a throwback. 2016, Ohio State, Michigan. JT Barrett gets that first down. Everybody, the whole field of Michigan is all over that call. That play is over with. You guys got to worry about the next play.
I remember hearing people talking about that after the fact, like it was just like, dude, keep moving.
It's over. And literally the next play, breakout touchdown. The game's over. Because you're worried about the last play, and the whole time Jim Harbaugh is worried about the next thing. You need to worry about getting 11 guys on the field to play some doggone defense.
Speaking of that, another thing that came out, I know you got some more things you want to say, and because this is you and I, we had a time to kind of dig into this. And this is, a pretty big deal talking about that. Talking about the slow movement of Michigan's their line setting up. I mean, they kept losing out. Maybe State was watching the tape on them like, man, these guys don't get to their positions on time. Let's just get out here and do that. Is that whole drag them into the deep water thing that Mel Tucker talks about? Is that an example of it, you think?
I think it was a great scouting report about that, because normally an offense will substitute, which then by rule the defense has a chance to substitute as well. I think Mel and his coaching staff did a great job of noticing how much Michigan rotates their defensive linemen. And so when you don't sub and you run hurry up, Jim Harbaugh, you got to make that coaching adjustment to get your guys in on ideal times and downs. Maybe put them in there when Michigan State has a loss of yardage. They're not going to run hurry up on a loss of yardage.
So that was the strategy, you think, that they said we're gonna look at these little things and we're gonna take of it. Is that's something? And I don't want to take any credit away from Mel, but you think that comes from being under the tutelage of a Nick Saban or somebody, just to say, or whatever it may be, just to look at those little things and exploit that?
I think in a sense of it is like I think any coach that comes into a big game, you always look for the edge. You always look for something that continuously will work that the opposing coach hasn't recognized yet. I don't know what game Jim Harbaugh was watching. There were multiple substitution penalties on the defense. And I don't know who's watching it. There's got to be guys in the booth at Spartan Stadium seeing that. Somebody has to communicate, look, we can't sub as much as we used to sub. Michigan State has caught on to our scheme. We got to sub guys on ideal downs.
You know, I want to add, and shout out to Aaron. He said the fact is U of M lost a 16-point lead in 19 minutes. Very good point. But you know what? And I hate to say it because this is what people say about the university as a whole. But basically, University of Michigan played some arrogant football. You know what I'm saying? It's like the whole idea of you get hit on stuff like substitutions and all that. Like, where's your commitment? You on the road, you got to do all that you got to do. It's just maybe he had in their mind that it was his time for the football guys to give him that win that he needed.
I think you know, and if you go by statistics, you know, McNamara played well. Haskins and Corum ran the ball really well. Andrell stepped up for the receivers and had a great game.
Shout out to your guy, Andrell Anthony. Boy, he
went off,
didn't he?
He answered the call. I mean, every single person that I labeled as an X factor that needed to step up, almost all of them. Peyton Thorne shook me a little bit. I needed a little bit more, but Kenneth Walker is just that explosive where he can just cover that up. But I just think that Michigan played well enough to win, but didn't finish the job. That's the difference in these big games. You got to be able to play through the full game with the same intensity. And I think Harbaugh, we've seen this enough. We've seen this time and time again where Jim Harbaugh doesn't keep his foot on their neck. He gets a little cocky. He keeps saying, well, we played well enough to win. We should win this game. In these games like this, where Mel Tucker is creeping down your neck, you can't be like, oh, we should win. You got to make sure you see yourself win. In a little historic, like just like in World War II, I'm going to go that far. World War II, they made sure they beat the Nazis in Germany. That's how you got to be every single game. You got to see the win out.
Hey, man, Before Their Laws of Power. Is that book over there on my bookshelf? I may have given away, but no, it talks about you got to stomp out the flame, man, completely, because a little small ember is going to be a flame. Kelly McCord, she's a very smart sports person, well known and appreciated, and also the mother of one of our great panelists. She said Andrell's breakout game, he put everybody on notice, and they were swooning over him in his post-game interview. He had about 5 minutes, and you know, I hate to say this, but when you have an articulate young African-American male, America goes crazy. But Andrell was smooth and he was vulnerable, and I think they like that because guess what he was? He wasn't cocky. They don't like you cocky out the gate. So right now, he's doing really well with it right now. What did Aaron say? So where has Anthony been all year?
I got the answer. Yeah.
You got the answer? You got a question? I got the answer. What's up?
A lot of it is because Ronnie Bell's out. And I watched Andrell's interview with Sports Illustrated, and he talked about how Ronnie Bell really took him under his wing, and worked out with them. Worked out even after their team workouts. They really worked with them.
I mean, we know that's true, but let's just talk about how just America and fandom loves that. They love the humility of a potential star, of a breakout star. Aaron says U of M has always played arrogant. That's the attitude that they carry. Good point. Yeah, man. I'm just saying.
And it won't change.
You know, it goes from the university. We're Michigan. Who's got it better than us? It's just kind of like, dude, you know what I'm saying? Like, what have you done for me lately? I want to shout out women's basketball. She's probably not going to be on during our Women of Troy segment, but women's basketball, we got you. I see all your great questions. We did our homework, and we're going to shout you out.
Yeah.
We appreciate you. Another smart person, Kelly McCord, again, saying they finally gave him the ball. Yeah, that's Kelly's answer to where has he been. But, you know, it's like he stepped up, man. It's almost like they talk about the innocence of not looking down at your feet, meaning it's almost like he didn't know any better. He's like, dude, I'm playing at the crib. I grew up around here. I'm just balling. Like, he was playing as if he had no idea what was really going on. Not saying that he couldn't just have done that, but it was almost like you could not have planned that. You couldn't come in and say, I'm going to have 2 major touchdowns. I'm going to be one. If it wasn't for him, it would have been a super blowout.
Yeah, they kicked more field goals.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a good take. What else you got for us on that? I know that was a big thing, Michigan State versus Michigan recap. Are you concerned that next week's game, this weekend game versus Purdue may be a trap game? Or Mel won't let that happen?
I think there is, you know, a history of in sports where after a big win you have a huge low. But I don't think so. I saw a couple of reports saying that some people had picked Purdue to win, but I think that Michigan State, because Purdue has a really good wide receiver. I can't think of his name right now. I'm blanking on it, but They have a really good receiver over there. They beat Iowa, so there is a sense of like we can beat anybody over there. But Purdue's no one to really get all geeked up about. I think there's somebody you take every opponent seriously, especially if you're going on the road. No game on the road in the Big Ten is easy. But I do think that Michigan State should be able to handle them. I think just too many athletes. I'm hoping we get Naylor back. Hopefully he's back for them as well. So
I just think that coaching staff is too talented to let these guys let that go. Because like Aaron was saying earlier, there's still some things they got to show up, and I like that. It's not a finished product. All right, so with that, we'll keep moving on. We'll talk about those ATL Wins. Are you ready? Hey, I got to give up to Terry McCoy Jr. You called it. Last week or so. We were texting back and forth. We were like, nah, dude, I don't know. I think ATL go get it. I was caught up on the whole Dusty Baker, Houston Astros. They've been there. The ATLians hadn't been there since like 95. But you called it. So what? Let's recap what you felt was going to make this happen. That they were going to be hoisting the World Series trophy when they did.
Man, over the past years, I mean, the Braves have always been known to rack up a lot of runs. I thought their pitching stepped up. I think that's where they were able to hold the Astros enough to win. I thought I had a feeling it would go 6, but it wouldn't surprise me if it went 7. I just really was excited for the Braves. I mean, like just last year, they blew that lead to the Dodgers. Everyone's making the Atlanta jokes. Oh, here they go again. Atlanta losing again. So I thought it was cool. They beat the Dodgers. The Dodgers paid a ton of money to get Max Scherzer and Trey Turner. Some heavy bats doing a little Yankee-ish stuff.
Yep. So, cash out.
Yeah, cashing out. I'm using that LA money, and it was really cool to see the Braves. With their best player out, Ronald Acuna Jr., I thought it was really cool to see guys like Eddie Rosario, Freddie Freeman, just guys stepping up and really playing well. It was really fun to watch. And, they haven't won since 95. So it's always cool to see a city like Atlanta. They're always supporting diehard for their team. Trae Young has brought a lot of joy to that city. Their football team could use a little work, but that team supports their teams, and it was about time they got a win in there.
I like your point you made about the money being spent. I think it's something to be said that the argument is always, you got to spend some money to win, but spending money doesn't necessarily do that. And I think it's kind of funny. I want to be rich. I want to pick you up on a private jet, Terry, and say, where are we going? Like, hey man, we're going here. But it's something to be said that money is not the answer to all these things. So it's just interesting noting that, but I'd rather have money and learn that lesson with having it than not having it. But I think it's something to be said that you still can put something together and do it. So with that, man, let's just take a quick break. I just want to shout out our sponsors, man. We got some great sponsors, as you well know. My guy, Horatio Williams and the Horatio Williams Foundation. We're going to be down there with him on November 14th with my guy, Will McCoy, the new assistant athletic director for MHSA. We're going to have a great talk. We're going to also have the Pistons in the building talking about mental health for the Mental Health Roundtable. That's going to be at the Horatio Williams Foundation on November 14th. All are welcome to come. Also want to shout out Dick's Sporting Good. Hey, between Staples and Dick's, those are my favorite places on the planet. I can get my gear at Dick's and get all my other things to support at Staples. And also the Gilead Sciences. They've been a great supporter of the SPS Edge Show, and we really, really appreciate that. Again, we shout out our guy Orlando, couldn't be with us right now. And again, Aaron Mays. Let me just give another shout out to Aaron, because, man, we had such a good time, man. We got to get this going again. Shout out to A. Mays. Good brother, man. Good brother. And he loved him some Michigan State, man. Got a lot of great history. So I want to shout out women's basketball. I don't think women's basketball could be on for the whole segment, but women's basketball has been a big supporter of the program. And talking to us about, the documentary Women of Troy. And my goodness, listen, man, thanks for putting me up on that, man. That was good. It wasn't long enough. When it went off, I was like, what? And let me say, I got to make a confession on this show, man. I got me a serious crush on Pamela McGee, man. Let me tell you something.
McGee twins, man. Hey,
twins is cool. But the reason why I say Pamela, because I met Pamela. And Pamela kind of Pamela hit me with the thunderbolt because this when I was with Governor Granholm, put all my business out here. I was with Governor Granholm, and we were in Flint for an event. And she came through and was very majestic, and she just commanded the room. And I'm looking, and she looked at me and she said, "You look like you in charge." So and I just melted. I was done. But they're beautiful. They're beautiful. But shout out to Pamela McGee. She was definitely empowering. So I'm going to work my way backwards. Hoop Baller Scoop jumped on it. What's up? Cheryl Miller was one of a kind. She was dunking and smacking the backboard in the mid-'80s. That's right. Then to think she didn't get to grown even more as a player. Think about it. Her career was cut short. 22, 23 years old. By 26 or 30, she would have been known more untouchable. And it's crazy that injury today would have been.
That's my point. Yeah.
I know. You know what? Here's the thing, man. We're going to get to women's basketball, who was also one of the key people making it happen. I'm going to talk about women's basketball's comments. Some people, man, are there to break through the ceiling, and it's unfortunate. And I know time and time again she gets tired of people approaching her and saying it was supposed to be this, it was supposed to be that. It's like, now here's the thing. Now, this is crazy. but I would hope that she got the people in her ear or could have this mindset. Now, Cheryl Miller could have gone if there was a WNBA at the time. Who's to say that she would? I'm not being blasphemous, Terry. I'm just trying to say the possibility could have been she could have gone and had a not so stellar career, and we would have not heard nothing about her. Now her legacy is, even though she didn't play in the WNBA, which wasn't there, she still has a legacy of one of the greatest basketball players ever.
Yeah.
Even though we didn't see that part, because even if she would have played, it's not to say that she would have even got the millions of dollars or whatnot. Netta's back in the building. Oh my God, I'm glad I was able to watch Women of Detroit. Wow, I'm young, but I'm in love with Cheryl Miller, man. I know she was awesome. Let me get some of women basketball comments. She was saying, I just love hearing about Cheryl Miller, arguably the best female player ever. You see what I'm saying? But I would even take the female part out because she got so much respect. 2 titles, USA gold medal in 1984 and USA World Championship gold medal. But her 1987 injury now is set. I had an ACL, and I know y'all saying, Lindsay, y'all broke. I had the Achilles, I had the ACL, and I was back at it. I was balling on my ACL. Also, women's basketball said, then we saw Cynthia Cooper. That's right. I'm glad she reminded me of that part.
Yeah.
Before she became a WNBA GOAT, and how great Pam and Paula was. That's right. I told you what I was feeling. So I will come back and watch the program later. Thanks for checking out the doc. No women's basketball.
I appreciate it.
Too. You were like, hey, y'all need to get on that. And look, we did our homework, didn't we, Terry?
Yeah.
So you said, okay. We came back with it and we was on. I watched it then. But I was going to say, yeah, Cynthia Cooper and her story, dealing with adversity. Her brother got killed.
She almost quit basketball. We wouldn't have seen it.
Looking for it. And then just show you how hot the hood be. The coach was shook when he pulled up. The streets, you know what I'm saying? We go hold court in the streets. The streets were like, man, who you?
They're not playing with Coop family.
Yeah,
they're not playing with her family.
I'm here. They're like, no, you good. But those are those street rules and street laws that people can argue about, but it means a lot. I mean, and the bit had that reputation. It said a lot about Cynthia, because Cynthia's rep had to be good enough that people would be like, okay, let him through and go like that. But I like the fact that when she finally came back from Italy and reached out to the new WNBA, they was like, we've been looking for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's it. Tell me what you think about women of Detroit, Terry.
No, I loved it. I loved it because I just really hurt me because to hear how Cheryl Miller got hurt, like it wasn't even in the game. She was just playing pickup ball with some football players. It's like, man, it's like just happened to be there. Just hearing about the injury, Hoop Baller Scoop brought up a great point, how that's an injury where players are back within a year or maybe a little over a year. Just to be an example.
I had an ACL injury and a meniscus, got it done. I was still balling, and I can really still ball on my Achilles. I still choose not to. All these injuries they come back from, but I'm putting my sports psychology hat on right now. I'm here to tell you that there's a very good chance that this is Cheryl Miller's legacy. This makes her bigger than that because she could have gone on and played, but think about it. The WNBA at that time, even if there was a couple years different, she would have just been starting. It's not at the point now where the WNBA is getting the props like it's getting. So she still could have kind of gone into that. So it's almost like we don't have an answer to the question, but sometimes things happen, Terry, to where it may not happen the way you want. But she's a Hall of Famer. She was on stage with Charles Barkley, Michael Jordan, and all those other individuals, and people respect it to this day.
Yeah, I just really enjoyed the fact that, even though Like just the fact that Cynthia Cooper almost quit, and just hearing her legacy and going through that, how her coach convinced her to stay.
Yeah, she was
That
working
was
at the
deep.
bank. She had to go to the bank. Ain't no telling what she was about to get popping. And
But
she went
really,
over to Italy and she learned the Italian language. I thought that was impressive.
it did, and it shows a lot of these players today probably have to learn the language as well when they go make their money overseas. So, but what really got me, man, was really how Cheryl Miller, getting told she's the greatest, having the spotlight, and all that is gone, with instantly. But I just love how she learned how she's more than that. And I think a lot of times, athletes don't realize that until it hits them. That could be a testimony to, to help someone who may end up going through that. Pray that no one has to deal with that. But injuries do happen, and it was really cool to see how she was able to work with TNT, have her work there, and still be a part of the game. Like, little do people know that those sideline reporters, they get to ask their questions, and depending on who you are, you get to have your own flair and style with it and ask, and be personal. And she knew the game. She knew the game so well that a lot of the players respected, like MJ, Tony Parker, all these people that she's asking questions about. They're like, dang, this baller right next to me. Y'all don't know. I should be interviewing her. Like she's over here interviewing me very deep and intellectual questions as a hooper. Players
got that high basketball IQ. Kyrie says, Cheryl Miller, I'm a big fan of. Think about the fellas in the 86 USA Gold team. She was a star with Teresa Edwards, Katrina McClain, Cynthia Cooper, Teresa Witherspoon, all the team. Salute, Cheryl. Thank you, Kyrie. You talking about your business right there. Mike Hoops Page says, yeah, Teresa Edwards would be great assignment. Yep. Awesome show, fellow. Thank you. We appreciate that, Mike Hoops. I want to shout out Caitlin Dawkins. She's with FHI. It's an organization that looks at replicating great programming to have a national impact. And her and I are in some great talks with SPS and talking about the subject matter that you touched on, Terry, is athlete identity foreclosure. Yeah. So an athlete gets to the point where the plan is done and what happens. And I think Cheryl Miller is an excellent example of, even though she didn't get a chance to keep playing, hey, man, the whole thing is she could have been on the side of the road somewhere. She could have been that person say, hey, man, we trying to find such and such. You see those 30 for 30s when they be like, hey, man, we got to go find so-and-so. We don't know what's going on with them. That could have very well been her. And then also to see her brother and all that success. Aaron Mayer says that 86 team was beastly. I feel you with that. Mike Hoospage also said, but LeBron's son averages 6. You know what? We're going to go right into that.
One more about
before we do it. But go ahead. What you got, Terry?
Yeah, I thought was so interesting to me was that Ann Meyer's story about how she was signed by the Indiana Pacers. Like, people were calling it a publicity stunt, but still though,
she was like, I came to hoop.
She was there practicing, like she was geared, ready to play, and to see her, I thought, and Doris Burke pointed this out. She pointed out that her and Mike Green were the ones broadcasting that WNBA game she saw, and so Ann Meyer still being a part of the game, being a pioneer in that, like all these different pieces, being a part of the game and that helped influence the game. Cheryl Miller was, of course, the star, but we got to remember, man, so many people put their imprint on women's basketball and helped evolutionize it. Cheryl Miller just made it so entertaining. Seeing her be flashy, like she wasn't like Louisiana Tech, where it's like, oh, wait, half court offense, slow it down. Cheryl Miller was like, they were the Showtime then in LA as well.
I agree, Aaron. She don't get enough credit. Let me tell you, experience I had. My experience of having a great amount of respect for female hoopers. When I was in high school at Henry Ford High School in Detroit, 8 Mile Evergreen, 7 Mile Evergreen, baby. We had a young sister on the team named Lynette. Man, Lynette was about 6'1" and can get it. When I would get in the post with her, man, it was different because she was a woman. So I would, bump against her and feel her as a woman, but she was still aggressive. She was a little dirty. She would pinch a little bit. I ain't mad at her, man, but hey, you had to come ready to play. So I say that to say, man, is to all the young ladies out there, keep it going all the way around. Kyrie had a comment. Michigan State got a game tonight. No, they play tomorrow. They play tomorrow, if I'm saying that right. No, Thursday. They play tonight. My bad. They play Grand Valley tonight. Yes, they do. By the time your next show come up, they would have played Kansas, right? Give your thoughts before the game. We have to check that out. I got to do my. I don't know what Kansas is looking like right now before I can make that assessment, but that's something we got to do on my home. We'll try to check that out real quick. You ready to check out Bronnys right now?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, you put me up on this thing. Did you put me up on Brownies? What was going on with him?
I think you sent me that, but you were talking about is it because it's that
Okay.
it was a
Brownies
good
college
intro.
offers include Duke, North Carolina, UCLA, UK, and Kentucky. Blue Bloods, baby. He over here bleeding blue. And then they put the stat line up there: 6.3 points per game, 0.3. You know what this is called? Let me tell you what this is called. Black privilege, baby. It is such a thing. That's that LeBron factor. I can't wait to go back to the library this weekend. Me and my daughter, man, she did a great job. Shout out to Madeline. She got like 8 A's, man. She's like reading so well and doing so good in school. Love my baby. We had a great parent-teacher conference. But this weekend, we're going to go to the library. And when I go over there, I'm going to pick up this book by Brian Windhorst that's talking about the LeBron factor. This is LeBron's influence, man. This is soon to be the billion-dollar man. Say whatever you want to say, man. It happens like that. It is some black privilege. Kyrie also said, it's a chick named Tina Hutchinson that was on Cheryl Miller's level but got hurt. Go watch her interview Tuesday on Uncertified Unscripted show. It was deep, and I think the young fella, will love it. Okay, Kyrie, she's shouting you out. Kyrie saying you will love it. We definitely check that out on Tina Hutchinson. But no, man, with Bronny, let's just call it what it is, man. I mean, this is LeBron's influence. You know what? I ain't mad. You know what? This is how we look at white people that get stuff that they shouldn't be getting. Period. Now, somebody would argue, that's wrong. Wrong is wrong. But this is the reality. Now, LeBron, got to live up to it. You know, he got a whole lot to live up to. She said, Lindsay, we got to talk about this black privilege thing. What do you mean, Kelly? We got to talk about it. That's the one opportunity we get it. What you got?
I think my point. I think with the Bronny thing, I don't see it as no other. I mean, I feel like tons of famous people. Michigan State, for instance, Steve Smith's son, Steven Izzo's on the team.
Class privilege. Hold on for a second.
I
stand corrected, Kelly McCoy. I like that because it is about classism. Because the black people in general, we don't get that. It's LeBron's class because LeBron has gotten to a class where he is potentially colorless. I get that. I was trying to put that black. I like that.
I would think
LeBron James out 1 week, abdominal strain. You know, he always want to take a break. You know, so go ahead, Terry.
I think that I think any famous player, anybody famous in general, it could be the president's son, anybody. I think has that privilege to just play on any team. But I think Bronny is all about potential. I mean, it's funny because they didn't show the assists per game on there.
But that's 6.3 though, and he ain't like he's 6'9".
But look, he missed his sophomore year because of a torn meniscus. He comes in junior year, he's a point guard. First of all, he's a point guard. So it's funny they didn't show the assists per game because he's surrounded by so many other scorers. I mean, they all can't score 20. They all can't have 30 points a game like his pops did. But the thing is, though, it's like I get it, but I don't get it because Bronny's on one of the top teams in the country. He missed last year. And I'm not making an excuse. I'm just saying we got to keep in mind that he's around other great scoring players, but that Bronny is the facilitator.
Duke, North Carolina, UCLA, UK, and Kansas. Now, it'd be different. You said North Carolina State, Kansas State, UCLA, Irvine. I don't know. Western Kentucky. Come on, man. These are the bluest of the blue bloods. Terry, I see you making a push, but I think it's a healthy exchange to say, man. I
think he got potential. I think he has potential. I think he's a good combo guard. I think he has a chance with him growing into his body still. I think he has a chance to be a really great player, and I think it's good that he's able to play with other great players because it goes to show who he's a point guard.
Okay, so let me ask you this: so players with potential, you mean every player with potential should be getting offers from these top programs?
I would say I would argue that a lot of these teams out here, whether it's football, basketball, soccer, I feel like a lot of these players get recruited off potential. Like even in the NBA draft, I feel like
recruited by who though, Terry? That's MAC potential. That ain't blue blood potential.
That's true. But I would say
that stat line alone might be JUCO potential.
That's true, and his name does help. Don't get me wrong, but I'm saying though. I think that it's a good point though that a lot of these coaches nowadays are looking for that next Giannis, looking for that next project where they're like, look, if we can get this kid in here, he grows, get some weight on him. And with his IQ that Bronny has, I think Bronny has a great IQ. He gets it from his pops. I think he has a great IQ, and I think if the more he grows into his body, I think he's a project. And like my dad said, he's a great donor. LeBron James is a great donor.
The first time I'm gonna have to be more in agreement with the other McCours than my co-host. That being Terry McCord, great potential donor, and going back to your mom, the class privilege, and I like that because here we are as African Americans being able to benefit from that. But you making a good argument though, Terry. You're making a good argument, but I think the Steel's gonna be like, dude, wait a minute. Let me just say one more time.
It's class privilege for sure. He was out all last year, torn meniscus. I think.
All right. Okay, let me ask you this then. This is fair. Had he not been out, okay, let's say he wasn't out, and his stat line was doubled. 12.6 points a game, 0.6 rebounds per game. Would that still justify these offers?
I mean, I no, because I feel like no, because one, he's LeBron's son, so he's always going to take heat.
That's it.
He's always going to take heat. But I feel like there have been players who have been sons of, like Kurt Herbstreit's son is on Clemson right now. I think one of them is on scholarship. It's like, should he have a scholarship to play at Clemson? No, I don't even know his first name.
But that to your mom's point, that's class privilege. It's like he's in a class that financially is one thing. What's my guy named Smith? What's Steve's son name? Oh God, I'm drawing a blank.
But I think that Bronny is probably the best in this situation. I think Bronny has a chance to turn out good while he is getting that class privilege. I think Bronny's gonna be pretty good while getting that class privilege.
He said he was gonna get them offers anyway. But because he's his son, shout out to Reg Vaughn, it's privilege, bro. He ain't that good. It take my boy Reggie Vaughn to say. But no, Terry's making an argument that no, he had an off year. Terry, I can't see it. Oh, David Smith, thank you, Aaron. Davis, same thing. Davis got a scholarship now. Davis got a scholarship now. I got number love for Steve. Shout out to Steve. Saw Steve a couple weeks ago. Just did an interview with Davis, and I don't know how to say it, but this is the topic. But should David Smith get a scholarship over, somebody who is at, who's at a Mac school? No, you know what I'm saying? And I'll say simply for this one reason. His height is deficient as it relates to the Big Ten basketball. A Big Ten.
You're like, well, how tall is he? How tall is Davis?
I'll tell you in 2 seconds.
Because at the same time, it's like.
And it's not, and I like David, but we having a topic, and I think we gotta show some integrity in our discussion. And I like what you're saying. I'm just arguing against you. You making all the right points. But let's see, Davis. How tall is Davis?
Yeah, I don't think Bronny would.
They got Davis listed at 6 foot.
No way. No, that's at least 2 inches up. But
they got David listed at 6 foot. And even I don't even know what okay, his stat line, and this is no knock, and I'm gonna get to our other comments real quick. I like what Charles Ward said, right? He said David Satchel Smith, born December 27, 2001 in San Antonio, Texas, the son of Steve and Millie Smith. He has an older brother, Braden, who was a senior at MSU. His father was a 2-time All-American under Judd Hiko and scored second all-time in scoring. Favorite team, Memphis Grizzlies. Favorite athlete, Shea Gilgeous Alexander, plans to major in food science. Where's the stat line at from high school to support him getting the scholarship at Michigan State?
Stevens is 0.000.
Reggie Vaughn says the Smith situation, okay, they're trying to reel Steve in, possibly the coach. I like that. I never even thought about that. But again, and then my guy Charles Ward said, I feel bad for Bronny. I was going to say that too, because the expectation, even when I, if you guys who are watching, you go back on my Facebook page if you can see an interview I did with David Smith. And I was talking to him about, the challenge of being, the son of somebody famous. And he talked about making your own way. But also it brings this conversation that people are having. You know what I'm saying? And I just can't, in good faith, sit here and just say otherwise. But as your mother put it, it's class privilege because it's not black privilege because all black people don't have access to this. Steve is a millionaire, big donor to the school, and like my guy Reg Vaughn says, it's a good opportunity. Maybe he's gonna reel him back in and coach. That could be the case. Tom. Think about it. Tom Izzo retires. Steve Smith named head coach at Michigan State. Sounds good. Same thing with Bronny. Anything else you want to say on that topic before we move on?
No, I definitely think class privilege is involved in it, for sure. But I think that Bronny could turn out as something. I'm not saying like a superstar like Imani or
I'm just saying, Terry, and I know I've been pushing back a lot, but if you getting offers from the Blue Bloods or the Blue Bloods, it's expected you could be a first-round draft pick.
That's true, but I think we see it now. The Blue Bloods is kind of taking the turn where it's like the Blue Bloods don't really mean much now. I mean, now we're seeing NIL, G League. I feel like a lot of the Blue Bloods have kind of taken a couple of hits. North Carolina's taking a different direction. Krzyzewski said, "This is my last go-around." I feel like a lot of them are starting to take a different turn.
Well, I think we can say this. The children of successful professional athletes are in the class, i.e. Kelly McCord, separate from everybody else. And by being in that class, the offers you get and the opportunities you get will not seem justifiable to those who are not in that same economic class.
Yeah.
David Smith, his scholarship, Bronny, if Bronny was coming through, Bronny be a kid, you wouldn't be like, hey, man, you got to turn on the TV and watch this kid named Bronny James. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. And I mean, we seen it with like Snoop Dogg's son. He committed and
he didn't want to keep playing.
He quit, and we see it a lot of times.
Yeah, Reggie Vaughn, again, appreciate you, Reg Vaughn, proud papa. He said it's product placement. Same thing UNC wanted to do with Jordan's son. Hell, look at D-Wade's son. I agree. And Latasha Prince says she agree. Who you agreeing with? Your cousin or you agree with me, Latasha?
Nah, she hates. She not agreeing with LeBron.
She from around that way though. I wonder why. But that's pretty good, guys. We'll keep an eye on that. We can transition to the next topic. And I appreciate you, Terry. You brought up all the alternative points. I got to give you credit. You went out there, and that allowed us to better have a healthy conversation. Again, shout out to Kelly McCord for giving me some clarity on that privilege piece. I know she probably like, that's right, Lindsay. And shout out to Terry McCord for talking about those donors. The McCords are in the building. Now, here's the thing. They talk about John Gruden may potentially sue Roger Goodell and the Shield, may sue the NFL over the fact that his comments, his emails that talked about DeMaurice Smith and were racially insensitive because they were personal. And he's looking at the idea of potentially suing the NFL. Now, my whole thing is like, really, dude, what really bothered me is that I went into the comments, Terry, and I'm going to pull you back up now. I went into the comments on whatever article, and I always do this almost knowing what the outcome is going to be. And people were more concerned about Gruden being violated as opposed to the violation that he committed. And that's what bothers me. This is in the wake of, the Ahmaud Arbery trial coming up right now, and there's only one black juror on there. It's all these little things like, y'all kill me how y'all know how y'all can just switch it up. What does Moni have to say? Say, hey, fella, just sticking my head in. I hope you all as well. And have to rewatch. Bro, yeah, watch from the beginning, Moni. You got a real cute picture up there. We appreciate you checking in with us for the show. Yeah, we talking about Gruden. It's just like, man, it's just so taxing. It's just so taxing to hear that the nerve he has. I said something that was jacked up and real bad. That was horrible. That actually got me fired. I resigned, but I think I want to sue. And people coming to his defense. That's right. It's almost like. I don't know, man. What'd you think?
I think when you're on a high pedestal like the NFL and you're a coach, I feel like even what they do with like college athletes and recruiting, like they check everything. They check your social media, they check your DMs, they check all that. And I feel like that's nothing different. And because you have a little understanding of what personal email is, it's like, dude, your emails were leaked. Like it's not. I don't think the NFL. If I'm getting the story correct, I don't think the NFL went in your stuff with the intent of finding something. If the story is clear to me, I think the emails were leaked. So it's like, dude, your emails were leaked, dude. That's not our fault. We see them just like any other story. Like I remember when Jake Fromm, his text message they were joking about, he was saying I got elite privilege and all this stuff and all that. His text messages were leaked. It's not like they're like, can we see your phone, John Gruden?
Right.
Can we see your
Right.
emails? Can you pull it up? Like, dude, your stuff was leaked and it's public now. If it's public, that's fair game. We saw what you said.
At the end
It's
of
your
the day,
fault.
man, it's like, let's talk about the issue at hand. And it seems to happen somewhere, like even going back to the trial, the jury selection for the Arbery trial, they're saying it's like it's almost they play a game with race and how they kind of always, even with the whole discussion, this is one of the reasons I put this out to discuss it, the whole discussion about critical race theory and how, they talk about, the same person that was spitting on Ruby Bridges and others who were trying to get to school back in, the 50s and 60s, they don't want that history to be told.
Yeah.
So it's like we always get these complicated issues, as we call it, how people, try to justify. So now, you mean to tell me now John Gruden is playing it? And, and it may even be this. It just simply may be it's a distraction. Because now the issue isn't about what John Gruden said. It's the potential of him being a victim of the big old bad NFL for going into his personal emails when he was talking about black people. So now it's kind of, he may not even, somebody like, look, dude, just bring this up. That may be the story. What do you think?
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest. I don't think this is going to go well for him because we're talking about two powerful communities. We're talking about the LGBTQ community and we're talking about the black community. Like the LGBTQ community itself, we know it's very powerful. We know the black community itself is very powerful. I think that with I don't think he really stands a chance because again, it's leaked. And I think that, I think there is a lot of stigma going around how the NFL is, and he can try and use that to his aid and say, oh man, the NFL again, making someone a victim, taking advantage of me, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, Gruden, you have been treated so well by this industry. You've had a spot on Monday Night Football for so long. ESPN helps you with your show with that Gruden quarterback camp with all the new quarterbacks. You've been on this pedestal for so long. And not to mention, you took Tony Dungy's team and won a championship. We can go as you have been treated so well.
He was a Steve Kerr of football.
Yeah, he was Steve Kerr of football. You have been treated so well by this industry, and now your character, your identity is shown to the light, and now you're all scared. Oh, my personal business. No, dude, they were leaked. Everyone knows. Everyone has saw what you said. It's your fault. Your character has been shown. You have been treated so nice by this industry, and now you're trying to turn your back on it and sue him. Like, get out of town.
I think you use an excellent word. Show character, man. And I love Keyshawn. I got to go pull the tape up when Keyshawn like, I've been telling y'all about this, dude. I've been telling y'all. And he's been able to benefit from that. Now, Kelly, what would we call that? We call it now, that's white privilege. That ain't class privilege. That's because race is definitely involved in this. So that's an example of it. And I even still think about that comment, what can we do as black people to get that privilege? You know what only privilege we got? We can say the N-word, they can't. And if that's the only thing we got going, we hold on to it. That's our black privilege. I'll say that then. So with that being said, man, it's just something to watch. And I'm grateful for having this platform to be able to bring these things up. Because, the other part of it is a lot of these platforms, man, you can't even have this discussion. You got to worry about the producer or the sponsors or whomever saying it. And I think that's another great benefit that we have. And you bring so much to this, Terry, with your perspective and your opinion, and we're able to kind of flesh it all out. So it never can be said on the SPS Edge Show that we don't talk about all sides of what's going on. But what's right is what's right, and what's wrong is wrong. We need to go sit down somewhere. We got a few more things before we get out of here, man. It won't be a long show. We're watching the clock and whatnot. Let's talk about, man, Calvin Ridley taking a mental health break in football. I think he better send a Christmas card to Simone Biles and Naomi Osaka because I think what it's done is, now those young ladies have given them cover. So now the big bad football player, big brother with the dreadlocks and dark skin, and that speaks to this whole psychological outlook people have that you're supposed to be so tough. And hats off to him, saying, I need a break, man. I need a break. I can't do it. And I think that the NFL will be wise to continue on the path there. I said, no, we want to support that. Now, How long will it be, Terry, before somebody like a Gruden, who it won't be Gruden because he's not on, he's incommunicado right now, but if somebody says, well, how long? What's to say that somebody don't take off just because they feeling so way, or because of what Simone Biles and Naomi have gone through? We won't even hear anybody say anything asinine about that. What do you think?
I think that's just a great area where if I'm a coach or if I'm an organization, I don't really mess with. Um, I think just continue to show love and support, and I checked the comments as well. I checked the comments as well, and I saw the fans supporting them because they know that Calvin Ridley, he's a wide receiver, came from Nick Saban, from Alabama. Uh, he's a guy, man, that plays so hard. He's always going hard. This year hasn't been the best year for him, but without a doubt, man, he's always played his best. I mean, Julio's traded away. He steps up right away. He's wide receiver number one, I would say, on that team. That team is not really going in the trajectory that they would want this year. They're kind of tanking. They kind of restart. They're in kind of restart mode. I feel like just a lot's on him. And who knows what's going on at home. He may not be bringing things to the light that he doesn't want to share right now. So I think that's just a gray area as an organization. I really wouldn't mess with. If a guy says he need a break, I'd rather have him here when he's 100% and ready to give his best to the team than being here and bringing stuff in from home and all that stuff where we want what's best for him. And I think the organization has done really well and like really giving him his space and allowing him to come back on his terms. Because rather him doing that than when we see, I hate to say it, with the Henry Ruggs or another situation where like Josh Gordon, things are just kind of going out of whack and they just need time to relax, go to rehab by themselves, just chill and come back 100%. I think that's something in sports that doesn't get spoken about. But when we see an athlete do it, we got to applaud it. So then it encourages other athletes to do the same. So I'm just waiting for the next athlete to do it as well.
Very good. We're going to go to Kyrie's comment. My guy Thomas Cage made a comment. TKs, I'm going to get you in a second. I know you were talking about the MJ piece with Brian. We're going to loop back around. I got you, TKs. But listen, the reason I left Kyrie's question up, have you guys ever had to take a mental break from any sports? For me, no. And I know in your case, when you had your concussion, it was more so a medical thing. But here's what I want to say about a mental health break from sports. I know about taking a mental health break from work.
Yeah.
So in this case, when you got to take a mental health break from work, and in most times it's because some other things are going on in the background that you're not really talking about or people don't know. So what is the difference between this young man, Calvin, taking a mental health break from work? That's his job. His job is 24/7 to play football and to be at his best. So going off some personal experience I've had, it may very well be some stuff that's going on. I mean, we're not going to talk about it because it's so new. But here's the thing. Look at what happens with the Phoenix Suns. They're talking about the owner for 17 years has been racist and misogynist. So you can have these things going on within the organization. You don't know how to deal with it. Like, man, I got to take a break. And it may be a way to give himself some cover. Also, too, she said, and what did you do to get the love back for whatever sport you needed to break away from? I want to tell a quick Scottie Pippen story. I was in the airport years ago when I was in corporate America, and I ran into Scottie Pippen. And at the time, I was taking a break from basketball for some other reasons. And I said, man, how do you know when you're done? Now, I know I'm done now because of my injuries, but he was like, when you lose the love. That's how he sounded, whatever or not. But, you're right. When you do take that break, shout out to TK. TK said, man, a mental health break from work is needed. It needs to be like that sometimes. Yeah. He said, and he's talking about, for example, with Phoenix, like the Clippers owner, right? We've seen that. And Kelly McCord comes back and says, I support him taking a break. I just want to understand if they were asking too much of him or more support to build resilience. Here's the thing, Kelly. I want to stay on that point. Let's just be honest, man. The reason we got problems with athletes taking breaks is because they make so much damn money.
Yeah.
And we like, no, dog. No, you got a Bentley. You got
make millions.
Like that. You got so much bread, and let's just say what it is. That's the only reason. Because if you worked at the post office, you can take a break. If you worked in the school, you can take a break. If you work wherever else, you can take a break. But because you work in professional sports, we do not want you to take a break because we are envious of your lifestyle and the money you make. Yeah. Kyrie comes back again. I remember when Michael Jordan left after the first repeat, And that was a mental
Rodman
break.
did too.
We didn't have a language for that. And we all know his dad got killed. Yeah, he took a break, and nobody, argued that. What TK's got to say? People associate financial status with happiness. Damn, TK, you come on and just drop a bomb like that?
Yeah, they do all the time. All the time.
That, TK? Thomas K said, "Oh, because you got money, you're supposed to be happy, and people are not sympathetic or even empathetic to what you're going through." And I think what we need to learn is not it. Hey, man, millionaires commit suicide too.
Yeah.
Hey, the money don't really matter, man. And then the money, let's be honest, man, money is really relative. Because here's the thing, and I want to get to Kelly's report, and I can appreciate everybody coming in on this too. Kelly says, "I think this applies to us everyday people. We have to determine what is reasonable to ask anyone." Kelly, you're reading my mind, because I was going to say money is relative. If you grew up, like I was talking with one of the young men I worked with, and we were in East Lansing. And see, me, I'm coming from my perspective, coming from Detroit, be a little bit more hard scrap. And I was like, yeah, man, you in this great community in East Lansing. He was like, dude, I'm from Durham, North Carolina. Like, this ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wow. So you got to understand, man, we talk about this money like that, and I appreciate you, TKs, but that's all relative. If you grew up in an upper middle class lifestyle, if you grew up with having things, yeah, you may not be wearing all the designer goods, but you ain't never wanted for nothing. Your family all college educated, you got a vacation home, you do all these different things. It's totally different. Meek Mill talked about that, his relationship with Robert Kraft. Robert Kraft would talk about when he was young, he would go, spend summers in Maine. Yeah, we know it's 7:00. We would spend summers in Maine. But he said, Meek Mill said, we was on the block. We didn't go nowhere. Kelly also said that, are we asking people more of people these days and we're not equipped to manage? Absolutely, Kelly. We are absolutely doing it. And part of what contributes to that is this medium that we're on right now, social media, being able to have these things, and it puts people on blast, and everybody is not fully developed where they can be okay with that. I'm very fortunate. I've had my low times, and I've committed my life to be able to talk to people and work about that. My guy Aaron Mays is up, and he said when the job becomes a job and you're not enjoying what you're doing, that's when you need to take a break. Yeah, man. I just think that if you were a sanitation worker, a sanitation engineer, and you had to shovel, shovel poop all the time, and you say, "Yeah, I got to take a break from my job," people look at you and say, "Yeah, man, you need to take a break." But because you got to think about it, man. Think about the physical condition you got to be in. Talk about your body. Talk about all these things you got to be up for. I mean, I just commend it, and I just think that it is what it is. People look down upon you doing that because they say you're making money. If it was any other profession, they would have no problem with it. They wouldn't even think about it. What you think as we close up? And I appreciate everybody. I got TKs, everybody. We got Cindy. I think this is a new person stepping in. Yo, I have a question. Y'all think at times we need a mental break from somebody? I totally do.
I've done it before. Yeah, I've done it
before. Even, low key, LeBron would do it think about it. When he was like, I turned my social media off during the playoffs. Why so? Because it's so critical that he gets the success that he can't lose it. I totally agree. So here's the social media break I take. I try not to go on my social media until I get up and have what I call my 10-minute miracle. I get up and I write my affirmations. I write down my, what I'm grateful for, and I do some breathing exercises, and then I pick up social media because that allows me to focus on Lindsay first before that. I totally agree. And it's ironic that I'm in a world, Terry, where my thing is social media all the time. I'm posting about our things and doing all that stuff, but it can be very overwhelming. Cindy also wants to add one more thing too. And when you take a break, how long and did you feel better? It took 2 weeks for me at one time. You know what? I think it's a very good cleansing feeling when you can do that. When you come back and you realize that the world didn't actually just, explode because you weren't on social media. So with that, I want to get to one more topic before we get out of here. I want to keep a hard stop time tonight at about 7:15. We're going to get out of here. One more question for all our great followers. Is my man, Coach Casey, on the hot seat? Pistons got top draft pick. They still can't seem to turn the corner. The thrill is gone, baby. Did he hit his ceiling when he was with the Toronto Raptors? And we thought that it was the fact that he was in the East and he had to deal with LeBron. Are the days numbered for Coach Dwayne Casey in Detroit? What do you think there?
I think it's well on its way. I picked out a quote from a lot of Detroit writers coming up whenever he was first hired. They said Dwayne Casey's job is to develop young players and provide stability, not really to win. But I think that, you know, with the success in Toronto,
Look at Aaron.
he's on the hot seat. I just think that in Toronto.
Hold on for a second, Terry. Every time Aaron make a comment, I'm gonna put his picture here like he here. He like, yup, he on the hot seat. Go ahead.
I just feel like you know, with Casey, his problem was like getting over the hump in Toronto. Getting over the hump, and that hump was King James. But LeBron is a huge hump to get over in the playoffs. So I mean, he was LeBron victim. He's a player's coach, so Detroit brings him in. Hopefully, they get the young guys and the veterans to play for him. I think he is a player's coach, which, as we've seen with Mike Tomlin, that can be a great thing. Stability, and we got to remember, he came in after Stan Van Gundy, who was more hands-on coach. Yeah. So Stan Van Gundy leaves, Casey comes in. It's more like free fluid. Everyone's kind of doing what they want.
I mean, they're point. Look what Moni said. Moni said that the Pistons picked the wrong pick. It might have been Jalen Green, but I give K a little more time. I think K was a better pick for what they have. Jalen was going to be a little bit more explosive player, but, you know, you want to build around that. I thought I had an epiphany, Terry. I thought I figured something out, but I realized that's not going to happen. I thought that, maybe because they brought Beeline in as a player development coach, they're going to set him up to coach, but they can't give him no head coaching job again. No. Calling people thugs and all that kind of stuff, try to say it's slugs, and that's just a bad look. You know, I like Dwayne Casey, but, you know, I've been worried about him for a couple years. Yeah. I've been like, no, because at what point because here's the thing, in the NBA, they protect their investment. They're like, dude, we're not getting rid of the player. We're going to have to get rid of the coach because we are invested in as a general manager who picked these players. He's like, dude, I can't say that I picked the wrong player. We got to get rid of coach. Moni got another comment, too. She said, Jalen Green put fans in the stand, but didn't Raptors win a title after he left? Yeah, but, you know.
Raptors had an interesting way to the finals, which I thought was very unique. And they played a Warriors team that wasn't the Warriors team that we thought they were with KD.
I was cool with that. I wanted the Raptors to win, man.
They were, and I was too. And I feel like that goes to say that Nick Nurse had a smooth way, a little Steve Kerr way.
Yep.
You know, kind of taking over.
Steve Kerrish, you say?
Yeah, a little Steve Kerrish, John Gruden-ish kind of way.
Yeah.
So, you know, just hopping in and winning, but. I mean, I got to give credit. I mean, he had a Kawhi Leonard. Dwayne Casey didn't have a Kawhi Leonard. That was literally the only piece missing. And I think that we could argue that Casey maybe wins with that roster. We don't know. Kawhi Leonard is just that one-of-a-kind player that could do it. And Killian Hayes right there. I don't put it up. I don't really put it on Casey as much because we drafted 2 point guards in back-to-back years. We got to be able to draft well, too, to be able to develop young talent. Drafted 2 generational.
So people hear what you respond to. It's the Pistons GM and Big Wigs messing up the Pistons. I hate Killian Hayes. OMG.
Yeah.
Shout out to Cindy. Aaron's back on. He said, even if K was playing, I still don't see the Pistons getting over. I know, man. Well, you know, last season, Aaron, they were like, oh, man, these guys are coming together, and it was all this hope. But now you got the draft pick that you say, Terry looking like it's spoiled milk. Like,
I said it from the beginning. Everyone was like, oh, give the Pistons a chance, maybe. I think Coach Orlando was saying they might make the playoffs. I'm just like, the Pistons.
Let me ask you this then. What is changing if and I'll never call for anybody's job based on performance. That's just I'm on that tip. You know, no. Especially a black man's job. I met Dwayne Casey when the Pistons came and played Cleveland at the Breslin Center. We had a brief conversation in the tunnel. You know, I appreciate him. Nice dude. But I'm just saying, you know, it's fair to say. What did Cindy say? I like Josh Jackson playing better, but they need some talent, man. My question is, so in the NBA, when do you really have NBA coaches turn the team around? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So what would even changing the coach do? But that is what they do. They say, oh, we're not winning. All right, fire the coach. That's just an NBA thing. They don't necessarily do that in college, but in the NBA though.
I think when you say that, it reminds me of what Mark Jackson did with the Warriors. They drafted pieces of what they were trying to do. They drafted well, they coached well, they made progress, they bought into the culture. I think that, you know, what the Pistons are doing now, they're a small market basketball team. Detroit is a small market in the NBA. Players don't want to go to Detroit right now, which is why you got to get lucky in the draft. Like Cavs got Evan Mobley. He's looking like a beast. That could be a player that hopefully other players want to come and play with. You got to play the draft game when you're a small market team and hopefully get a Giannis Antetokounmpo or some of these players that want to stay there and embrace the city. And I wouldn't count Cade out yet, but small market teams do have to play that draft game until they get lucky.
I agree. Aaron said PG is the problem. Killing Hayes is not cutting it. Your cousin, our new friend, Latasha Price says, always going to be the coach and GM. Look at my Celtics. I didn't know those were her Celtics. What's up with that Celtic pride?
Yeah, my aunt liked the Celtics.
She said Brad couldn't get us to the chip for nothing, and we had some major guys. Yeah, I mean, the NBA is a different animal, man, because those players, dude, they go get rid of you before they get rid of me. And that's unlike college and anything. That's a different dynamic. So hats off. Speaking of that, they got the Celtics getting ready to play the Heat at 7:30 in about 20 minutes. So Moni just jumped in too. We appreciate you, Moni. She says, man, I miss the days when we had Rip Wallace and Billups. They had the building, they had that building rocking, man. That seems like it was ages ago. Yeah, it was going down like that, the 2014. Yeah, man. I don't know, man. I just don't even know if a coaching change does that, but it's just the nature of the business of the NBA. We keep losing. Fans getting mad. Fans stop coming to games. We got to do something, and the sacrificial lamb is going to always be the coach. I think Dwayne Case is going to end up on somebody's bench somewhere as an assistant, but it may be a very long time if you get a head coaching job. And this is no knock on him. Seems like a great guy, but let's just say he hasn't been able to get it done, man. And I say, I'm sad, man, because I want to have integrity on this program, Terry, when I talk. I want to have integrity, but I don't want to say anything that could be, because see, I'm not saying things in a vacuum. Like, I might see this guy, and hell, the way the SPS Edge Show probably, he might see this. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, though, something has to give, man. And I got to say this last thing, and I'll go back to you before we wrap up. He got a lot of respect in the league because he's kept his job longer than I thought he was going to be able to keep it based on the lack of success the Pistons have been having,
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think, he's a player's coach. Players love him. DeRozan, Lowry, Siakam, all those guys love him.
Got to win out here, man. You got to win out here. Well, man, we've had another wonderful show. We miss our guy, Coach Watkins, but I appreciate my guy, Aaron Mays, being real close by and supporting us. I want to appreciate everybody for just following and sharing. What a great group of people have been supporting the SPS Edge Show. If you guys got some topics you want to discuss, feel free to inbox myself or Terry. Put something out there. We try to get it going. We'll probably be talking about the Phoenix Suns next week. That news just broke so fast that we didn't really get a chance to get into it, develop it. Charles Ward is saying Mark Jackson would be a great kind of coach, but he's been blackballed and probably loves it out in LA. You're right. All he got to do is come to Detroit one time for this weather, man. He ain't going to want no parts. You're right. I think Mark Jackson is evidently been that. And by the time it's time to come back, shit, you got a better chance of Colin Kaepernick coaching the Pistons than Mark Jackson getting the job. Man, that's it. Terry, you got anything to say before we get out of here, man?
No, I mean, great week coming up. That Michigan State, Ohio State game should be interesting.
Woo! I know you watch it.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun though. It's a lot of controversy.
Can you give me the line? Can you give me what's your line on that?
I mean, seeing that Michigan State just gave up so many passing yards, that's what we do best. So it's like, if I'm seeing that, I'm seeing we can capitalize on it. But I think we may win by maybe about 10.
And say
10,
who we
10,
is.
14.
People know that you're not rooting for the Ann Arbor faithful. You're rooting for those guys.
Oh, no. Ohio State probably going to beat Michigan State by at least 10 points.
Well, that's that famous rest in peace then. Talking about we over my dead body. You say, who y'all got, Kansas, MSU? I want to save judgment of that, Charles, until I look in the Kansas roster. But just know how Kansas recruits, man. We're Michigan State. I think you got to get an edge to Kansas. Now, that's going unseen. But that's just such a young team, man.
I'm going Sparty.
You going Sparty? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. That's
I'll
cool.
go Sparty.
Aaron, my guy. We got to get back to these seasons. I don't know, man. Well, look, we're going to wrap up. This is Lindsey Huddleston with my guy, Terry McCord Jr. I want to thank all you guys for supporting the SPS Edge Show. If you guys got some things to be back with. What did Charles say? Have faith in your boys. Hey, man, look, I just call it like I see it, man. I got to have some integrity, That's it. So with that, guys, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you for supporting the show. Appreciate you guys. Terry, any last thing you want to say before we out?
I'm good. I'm excited for the next couple of weeks.
All right, it's your time. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Peace.